everybody, welcome back to Northern Lions Mod Spotlight in the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. This is still Mom's Closet. I guess I shouldn't do that save file because there is potentially a streak happening on it right now, but because of the segmented backlog, there's no way you would ever know when that takes place. However, I figured we'll try out this character Null this time, and I can tell you right off the bat, TSGWQVMD. Sorry, did I say this was Afterbirth? I meant to say this was Alphabirth again, the pack 1, which is Mom's Closet. I like this character already. What do I like about them? It seems like they're... First off, they live their life like a candle in the wind. Secondly, are they eaten with missing no? AKA every floor, our entire run gets rerolled. That's kind of cool. Again, I've been trying to figure out how we're actually going to handle this mod, because there's so much content in it. We might just do one normal run at some point, but this should be a good indicator. Like one normal run, meaning one run where we just don't... We play as like Isaac, for example, and then we just... Oh, careful. See what the new runs feel like when this mod, you know... we can fly. Okay. I did not expect that. Where we see what kind of like cool interactions we can get with the new items, but the fact that we're going to get basically a D4 every single floor, everybody walked a dinosaur, is kind of a nice way to take a little tour of the items in this game as well, I think. Like the fact that we're starting with missing no, I mean, I'm a little disappointed that we're going to lose out on our sweet item combinations right here, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, so all of our items got rerolled, not just the ones that, you know, maybe we picked up after we spawned on the run, so I'm pretty sure that you start with like one random item and then missing no. In which case, this is a darn cool setup. A missing no character strikes me as the kind of thing that is fun temporarily, frustrating after that point, but that's good. I actually think that's good, at least. You got one character who actually sucks up all the zaniness. Like, this is the kind of character, let's be honest, I played for 97 seconds, so I'll be getting a little ahead of myself, but, you know, you got 30 minutes before the next NLSS segment. Who do you play? Usually Azazel. We want to make sure we can finish a run in time. Then why not just give it a little Null try instead? See if you can't manage to make it sing while having a little bit of a pre-programmed zany time at the same time. Now, how does this run compare to our last run? Relatively... Well, how does this roll compare to our last roll? Relatively badly, to be honest with you, but still, Infestation 2 is lovely. It's hard, like, if you're an optimist, you look at this and you go, oh, Infestation 2, we're really going to love that for the brief time that we have it. If you're a pessimist, you look at this and you go, we got Infestation 2 now, that means we're not going to have it when we might need it later. And I do find myself a little bit more in the pessimistic camp with respect to this run right now. Not that it's bad, it's just we're getting good items early, which means we can't get those good items late, so who knows what's going to happen. But there's plenty of good items in Isaac to go around, man. Plenty of good items in Isaac to go around. Guppy Precedent ain't going anywhere. I think I'm going to take Possessed Tears as well. Even though it lowers our HP fairly ridiculously, the fact that we're going to get another item rerolled I think is worth it. And obviously we'll go to our item room and see if we can't get anything there. Even if it's consumables, the consumables will be worthwhile for us, so far be it for me to deny them their rightful place here. Book of Belial Tears also, well, not Book of Belial Tears, just Belial Tears. They get double damage after they hit an enemy, which I think is fairly solid. And of course, we're super stoked to have Death's Touch as well. We probably turned this into like an excellent run right before we completely fucking rerolled it. But let's see what we can get on our third floor here. Caves 1, the hardest floor of the game per capita, many people have said. Nobody's ever said that. We have HP, Blessing of Knowledge, which means we know where our map is here. Well, we know, you know, what's going on our map. We have Dead Onion, Lusty Blood, and Jacob's Ladder. It's remarkably similar to a run that, I don't know if it's gone up yet, but I had recently in Isaac. You know, in vanilla non-mod Spotlight Isaac. How do I feel about it? Well, it's actually, like, great if we can get our shot speed and range up, but that's not also that relevant because we're not really worried about our shot speed and range because in one full floor we won't have to make this run work anymore anyway. But Jacob's Ladder, probably on the list of like best items you could possibly get in Afterbirth, so Afterbirth Plus. I apologize again if this message gets you down. Then I CC'd every girl that I'd CC'd around town. No spider transformation, so that's not that good. But I apologize Still a little bit under the weather. My voice sounds good, but I said this in a recent episode, but I feel worse than I sound. We can walk over gaps. Not just rocks, but we can fly, basically. Just consider it like that. It's not to say I feel terrible, which is not true, but I definitely, like, I sound not 100%, but pretty good. I feel like 25% right now. Not quite like, I always equate it to like a hangover. You know, how do you feel relative to a hangover? A hangover is self-inflicted. But when you get it and you wake up in the morning, usually you're like, that sucks. If having the flu was like having a hangover, like a day of that would be punishment. 5 straight days of that, which is what you often get if you have the flu, would be hell. That would be horrible, right? I'm at like 0.6 hangovers right now. I got no nausea. I got no headache. What about upset stomach, heartburn, and diarrhea? No comment, but actually the BMs seem like they're pretty solid right now. It's just in my head like a Cranberries song, you know? Like a zombie, zombie. It's affecting me cognitively, but I'm hoping that it's doing so in a way that's almost like endearing as opposed to a way that's just leading to incoherent non sequiturs. Luckily, the mod is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for me because this character is actually pretty cool. I will never, you might as well just get mad right now because I'm never going to remember that we can fly. I've probably already forgotten many times and had it cause us to miss out on consumables. Doesn't help us too much right now because it's not like we can just fly over a gap and wait there for the enemy to come to us because our range is pretty terrible, but yeah, dude, hot bombs gets me every time. Almost done, we did it. No deal with the devil. Super bandage. Are they going to take my HP away? I hope not. Let's head down to the next floor and see how it goes. Number 1, scatter bombs. 3.52 damage is pretty bad, but I mean, look at this. This character, all they need is 20/20, and they got a pretty dope fashion sense going on. Weirdly enough, I might take a gamble on this floor, and the gamble is that Bumbo sometimes doesn't get lost when you re-roll your whole run. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I think I've seen it in action. If I'm talking out of my ass, then feel free to, you know, correct me. I was also just about to say, by the way, we've been very lucky so far in that we haven't had a shit run. Shit roll, rather. This is our shit roll. This one's pretty bad, but yeah, what I was gonna get at is maybe I'll try to, like, feed Bumbo a little bit. The only thing you can really do, like, you're really, like, on a corporate team building exercise when you're in an undefined run, or sorry, a missing no run like this. And I know half of you out there are going, what the fuck is he talking about? How is this in any way like being on a corporate team building exercise? It's very simple. You know, when you're whitewater rafting, the fact that it's corporate team building has basically no relevance. When you're whitewater rafting, you can't really be like, I want to go over there, right? You know, the river just goes. You're kind of just on it, and eventually you get off it. Or you die, I suppose, is the other alternative. Not to be morbid. But recovering from that, first off, stop taking damage. Secondly, whenever I get hit, I see that I have Bloody Lust. I see that I have a red bandage on my head, but I actually don't have a red bandage on my head. Or at least I'm not getting the value out of Lust, so what's going on there? Maybe this is the, like, character model used for this guy? I don't know. Escape. Anyway, it's like whitewater rafting, you know? We can't really steer. We can just sort of direct, I suppose, the way we'd like to go. All we can really do there is work towards transformations. So, like, actively pick up guppy items. There's no doubt about that. That's on my list, and it always is. But apart from that, it's pretty much just stack up as much HP as you can and then let it ride as long as possible. There we go. I don't really care about Lost Fly, except for the fact that it does contribute to Beelzebub again. So, like, being able to have a permanent ability to fly is also pretty valuable. So, that's part of the reason Guppy's so good. He's so guppy. He's a cat. But he cries for some reason that I hadn't come up with to make this song. So why don't you lick on my dong? Da, da, da. I know you're... Don't repeat that, kids out there. That's gonna get you sent to the principal's office. And it will reflect badly on your parents. I'm not saying they deserve it. I'm just saying, you know, you can make their lives easier. They're making your lives easier. There's a demographic out there of parents watching these videos with their kids. Obviously, there's a demographic of kids watching these videos with their parents. Wait, that's what I meant, actually. But everyone always talks to the parents. They're always like, you know, parents, don't let your kids watch this. Nah, screw that, dude. We're in a different category right now. I've got an idea. First off, take this, because why not? Secondly, take this. Die here. Well, no, leave. Blow yourself up. Die. Respawn. Now we got a sweet little winter hat going on, and we're gonna be Dark Judas forever. Which means we're no longer Null. Isn't he lucky, this high Vancouver egg? We still might have missing no, though. Otherwise, I've pretty much just created our normal run, and then we'll do another Null run next time. That's funny. Please missing no me. That's the main thrust of this character. The ability to walk over gaps was just secondary. Alright, let's see. We'll still have the shovel, but, yeah, all of our stats got rerolled, so as far as I'm concerned, this is still a very, very zany-ish run. We also have, 0.4 speed right now. I'm not a huge fan of that. But yeah, to the point I was trying to make earlier, people always go, you know, like, hey, parents, like, don't let your kids watch this. Nah, we're in a new category here. Kids, stop giving your parents such a hard time. You know, everyone's always telling parents how to parent. And it's valuable, you know? There's big opportunities to mess up when you're raising a kid, I'm certain. I mean, I'm not a parent myself. I'm not trying to, you know, parent-splain you. I'm just trying to say, I'm sure that that's the case. Kids, you should make your parents' lives easier as well. Just go to bed. You don't even understand that that is like your parents wish for the sweet embrace of sleep every single day. And you're like, I don't want to go to bed because I feel like 6 months older if I go to bed at 8 instead of 7:30. You're 2 years old. It doesn't matter what you feel. These people are providing food for you. You literally do not know anything on Earth. You think you know what's best for you? You're a 2-year-old child. The average, like, 25-year-old doesn't know what's best for them. You're 1/12 of that age. You're born, like, shows that were on the air when you were born are on, like, season 3 right now. You don't get to make your own decisions unless, you know, that show was The Simpsons. It's on season 27. It started the year I was born, maybe, or like a year prior or after. I'm an adult now. I don't have to wait for The Simpsons to stop, or The Tonight Show, God forbid, before, I make a decision, but, you know, we're talking, you were born when season 1 of a show that's going to get canceled before season 4 came out, so I understand that you don't get that joke, because you just think that all episodes of television that have ever existed already exist, and, you know, the concept of a rerun makes no sense. You get the idea. Anyway. Oh, it's some sort of, this death animation wasn't done yet, but Explosivo is a nice compensation for that regardless. Anyway, parents, I'm giving you the floor here. Northern Lion says eat your vegetables. Why do I say eat your vegetables? Well, first off, it's good for you. Secondly, you're gonna want to eat your vegetables as an adult. I'm just letting you know that is gonna happen unless you're Sinvicta. And you're gonna want to eat your vegetables as an adult, not just because they're delicious, but because they you know, are good for you as well, and that's part of being an adult, is doing things that are good for you. Keep yourself alive longer, because, you know, the aches and pains are going to start to set in. You got a lot of time. I mean, if you're 2 right now, you're not going to be old for, like, at least, like, 50 years. But you might as well get a head start on it. Plus, if you go to college, and you go, like, hey, I like Brussels sprouts, you're going to seem very worldly to the young ladies or young men there, who are still like, I only eat chicken fingers every day. I was there. I was in college. When I went to college, I didn't like soup. You want to know why? Too watery. I love soup now. What was I thinking? I was an idiot. Basically, you are stupid. And you might, you know, want to cry when you hear that. That's because you're a baby. But it's actually very empowering. Because every day, if you work hard, you can get smarter. And that's what's important. The harder you work, the more stupid your past self is going to seem. And that's exactly the goal that you should shoot for. In this mortal coil. The other thing I will say is that you're probably screwed it's gonna be like impossible to get a job. You're gonna have like 6 PhDs because the robots are just they're gonna take every possible conceivable job opportunity. They're gonna be they're already better than us at like everything, but we're kind of like, just let the old generation get the pensions and we'll get the hell out of your hair, right? So you're screwed. Basically, start training already in like guerrilla warfare style combat because the Terminator is going to come true. You don't know what the Terminator is yet. It's James Cameron film from 1984. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know him as the first person to ever be killed by a president, not be a sitting president who died, but he was murdered at the hands of our current president of the United States in an all-out Twitter war. Anyway, the point is, it's pretty good, and the second one is arguably better. And I actually have a little bit of a soft spot for the third one as well, but certainly, like, not everybody's in the same camp on that one. But definitely stop after that, like, maybe Genesis, but Salvation was a colossal disaster. So what I'm trying to say here is swing for the fences, Slugger. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the freaking stars. Alright, get the hell out of it. That was a cool room. It had 9 stone chests. Or, no, sorry, 9 golden chests there. If I could actually give advice to a 2-year-old... No, you know what? I was gonna say, like, that's wrong. Because, like, what do I know? But actually, I know more than a 2-year-old. I'll just tell you that right now. Any 2-year-old. Put me up against any 2-year-old. There are probably some, like, 13-year-olds on the planet who could smoke me in certain areas. And I'm not just saying, like, obviously, like, ballet. Yeah, the best 13-year-old dancer is going to be way better than me. But there are like, 13-year-old epidemiology students I don't want to go toe-to-toe with in a debate. And that's not a sign of weakness. They work their asses off. But put me up against any 2-year-old, I will destroy them in any test of knowledge or wisdom. Except would you argue with a 2-year-old. But what I was going to say is, it's not really fair, because I could give a 2-year-old wisdom. I could give a 2-year-old advice. The only question is, are they smart enough to take it? The answer is no. You ever try to tell a 2-year-old anything? Hey, Slugger, maybe you should have 5 to 10 servings of fruits or vegetables today. I want to eat ice cream for dinner. Yeah, that's not... Like, you're going to give yourself, insulin tolerance, buddy. You don't want to do that. I want to eat ice cream for... just there's no getting through to them. I don't have advice for 2-year-olds. I have advice for, like, 17-year-olds. Like, you don't understand. We're not that far apart. If you're 17, let's just say 18, because I'm 28, so it's been 10 years. It's not a huge difference. It seems like a huge difference to you because you're younger than I am. But, the difference between 28 and 38 is like the difference between 19 and 21. I can hang out with a 38-year-old and be like, psh, effective tax rates, right? And they'll be like, yeah, the Clinton administration of my formative years, am I right? And I'm like, yeah, right? So, like, we can relate. But anyway, you and I will get there at some point. I'll be the 38-year-old, you'll be the 28-year-old. And there'll be a 2-year-old in the room going, I want to eat ice cream for dinner. But, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, what I was going to say is, like, figure out what you want to do. Take it seriously. Work your ass off to achieve that goal. Because when I was in college, we were still, like, pre-2008 recession. And the functional wisdom was like, there's going to be a job for you. There's jobs right now. And then there's people in those jobs. Those people are going to retire eventually. And then, you can sneak in and you can take their position and work those jobs. And then, automation, no breathing, don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding, etc., etc. People are living longer and in better health, and pensions are going away, so they're choosing to stay at their jobs forever, and, outsourcing and stuff like that. Now it's like, well, you got the 4.0, so we can give you this entry-level position. So, that's needlessly a little bit, like, overly reductive and also fear-mongering, but, it's potentially semi-scary times, so just work your butt off if you like what you're doing. I think there's we've never needed the shovel here, but with the guillotine, at least temporarily, we can take advantage of unicorn stuff. But yeah, there's a great joy in finding what you're passionate about and doing it. I'm lucky enough that I got 2 right now. And, I'm not a professional programmer, but I really, really enjoy programming, which is super cool. What is D1? What will it be? It's a random dice effect? I can't remember. I've had it before. Let's take the unicorn stump for now. Oh my god. I apologize for my stuffiness. Maybe if I worked as a programmer, all the enthusiasm would be taken out of it for me, but, you know. Making videos also, I was most excited to get home and be like, I got so much random shit to talk about. Most of the random shit I'm talking about isn't even from PAX, it's just that my, like, absurdity engine got recharged, and I'm like, man, I'm so ready to just aimlessly talk to myself in a room for like 5 to 6 hours a day for the rest of my life. And then I read one angry comment and I go, shut it down! Shut the whole thing down! This was a mistake. No, I'm like half joking there, but yeah, you know? Basically, my advice to you is figure it out, you little bitch. I'm not gonna take any of these because we're just gonna leave anyway. Like, we're gonna re-roll our whole run, who cares? Curse of the Blind. Now, we don't really, or we haven't really gotten too many, Alphabirth items, so we find ourselves sort of being like, you know, this is just an anti-birth plus run, but remind yourself that the reason everything's getting re-rolled constantly is because of the fact that we had that anti-birth Alphabirth character to begin with. I know there was a tweet from Edmund that said, hey guys, like, just so you know, you can stop with your blank birth mod names. I'm not going to disparage any mod creators, but I do want to at least say that if you're working on a mod, you haven't given it a name yet, for the love of all that is holy, please don't call it blank birth. And that's not, I'm not saying that that makes your mod any worse at all. You know, I've played some great, Anti-Birth, for example, probably considered the consensus best mod, even though it's not for Afterbirth Plus. That's got birth in the name, but everybody's coming to the same brilliant idea, and you're all making each other's ideas worse because it's fucking impossible to keep in your mind the rhyme you designed to explain in due time. The difference between each of these mods, you know, I have no fucking idea. If somebody goes, hey, have you played, you know, The Binding of Isaac Butt mod, or Butt Birth? And I'm like, I don't know, I haven't played Butt Birth. I played Gland's Birth, that was pretty good. Just try to deviate somewhat. That's all I'm asking. Obviously, you're doing the hard work of, you know, the design and the code and the sound and the art, etc., etc. Just throw a different name on it. It doesn't have to be blank birth. There's just so many births at this point. That was to the point where the official Isaac DLC was too birth heavy. What in... Okay, this is beautiful and absolutely horrible, and I love it. So I don't want to use Sack Dagger exclusively here, but I'm glad we've got it. So you like fire one bomb and then run into the madness. Pardon me. I love you with all the sadness in my soul. Wait, that's not even the right pitch for that lyric. I did sing Born to Run at this karaoke place, and if you've heard our karaoke stories from PAX, I wasn't necessarily 100% thrilled with the karaoke experience because the lyrics were like about 5 seconds offset, and then you're gonna be like, that's how a karaoke machine works. Listen to your motherfucker. Taught English in Asia as a 21-year-old. You think I've never been to karaoke? I can read that shit ass blasted drunk and keep it in time, okay? I know how a karaoke machine's supposed to look. This was not correct. But luckily, I know all the lyrics to Born to Run. But some of the people in the karaoke place with me were like, why is he doing the wrong words? Look, always, never assume operator error in this case, but I also like, it's weird because you get self-conscious a little bit. Maybe it's just me. This is a highly, highly niche story. But I was like, should I pretend to not know some of the words? Because to know all of the words and recognize that the timing in the karaoke machine off is kind of like a uber nerd category to be in, right? Like, you're like, behind the towers, hemi-powered drones scream down the boulevard. Girls comb their hair in the rearview mirror, and the boys try to look so hard. And you're like, maybe they think that I'm like a Bruce Springsteen superfan, which I'm not. I mean, I don't disrespect him. I think Born to Run is a classic album. That's all I'm saying. You know, if you haven't listened to it yourself, you're missing out. But I did think it's insulting to say. I don't mean it like this, but I was like, maybe I should like dumb it down a little bit, because otherwise people are going to start asking me questions like, how do you like Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska? And I'm like, I've never heard it, but I hear it's maybe his best album, but I'm pretty fond of this one called Born to Run. Have you heard of it? You know, it's a very deep amount of knowledge about a very niche, specific, and narrow subset. It's not a good look. I don't even know what's going on this run anymore. I gave up on this run a long time ago. I'm, you know, under the influence of various cold medicines right now, as well as the fever that is causing me to take the cold medicines to begin with. But we're putting down easy wins in a mod that I'm not wholly familiar with. Get it? Wholly. I hear that cat number 2's into big underground drills. Anyway, we're gonna win this run in good time as well. Sure, why not? I don't think we have the guppy transformation. Well, we'd see more flies if we did. Every single Isaac video today has had a sneeze of robust proportions. That's cute. I sneezed and then Ruka's sitting in this box on the desk. He came over and, like, you know, flipped himself around 180 degrees and took a look at me. Yeah, I'm fine, buddy. Just a little sneeze. You got nothing to worry about. I think. I don't know. Can cats catch human diseases? That's one of those things where, like, as someone who has a bachelor's degree in biology, people always go, shouldn't you be the one who knows that? Yeah, but, like, a bachelor's degree in biology basically teaches you to use the scientific library, trust people smarter than you, and then, like, culture agar on plates. And that's not a bad skill set. Oh, dude, we have Kamikaze and Pyromaniac. Good eye, good eye. And Ipecac, like, soy milk Monstro's lung, so weird. Dude, Kamikaze takes 100 years to charge up. So I think we're just going to use our weird shots here, which are also great. Yeah, people, like, I think they have a weird idea of what college for science is like. I can't speak for engineering, I'll admit, but college for biology was basically like, hey, stop saying you believe things without having data to back it up. And I was like, oh, okay. That's pretty smart. And then there was also like, hey, here's the amount of sacrifice you're going to have to make to get a research project done. It's not just pouring baking soda and vinegar into a volcano and watching it explode. And I was like, damn, I have a newfound respect. What it definitely was not was, all right, here's a list of, like, every question that people are ever going to ask you about anything ever that has involved the process of life. Do crocodiles and alligators have a shared genetic lineage? Like, maybe we did that in the class, but I wasn't there that day. We did take a class that was like that, though. I took a class where we had to identify birds based on the sound that they made. I'll let you guess. I actually did really well in that class. I'll let you guess how much I've used it in real life. Because now, once the exam was over, all that information got purged from my head, and now I'm like, you know, do a crow sound. Caw-caw, you know? Goo! That's my impression of every bird that isn't an owl. Yeah, dude, college it teaches you how to learn, which is weird. They should really put that at the start instead of at the end, right? Like, think about the education system. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, teaching you how to read and write, teaching you mathematics, good stuff. Third grade to, like, 10th grade, remember all this. And then after 10th grade, you know, you're kind of getting into the more research-oriented stuff. You should do college first. And you should finish with, like, 3rd grade, where they're like, hey, what's the capital of Thailand? And then you just, you know, oh, I'm going to go to, you know, the scientific record for that. It turns out it's Bangkok. And they give you an A+, and you all retire. I don't know what I'm talking about. I gotta go sleep. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.